Hey Kavon, how you doing today?
I am very good, Peter. How are you?
Awesome. It's great to see you again.
Yes, same
Always
here.
enjoy our conversations.
Yes, yes. We always have good ones.
We do. And today we're going to get into time. So, how are you managing your time? And that's the big question of the day here today. And one of my favorite quotes is by Dean Jackson. At least that's
Mm.
where I heard it.
Yeah.
And it's there are only 24 hours in a day. You can't have less, and you can't buy more. What's your thought on that, Kavon?
I like that. I like that a lot. Especially you can't buy more part because um, I'm going to give a short answer to your first question,
Sure.
then explain it a bit more and we'll get back to it. Sounds good?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. So you asked me, Kevin, how do you manage your time? Short answer, I don't manage my time. Now, here's the concept. Here's the thinking behind it. Okay, time. Can I really manage time? I don't think so because I cannot get more. I cannot, get some of it back. I cannot save some of it for later. So time just goes at its own pace, its own speed, doesn't care about how I feel about it or what is it that I'm going to do. So time just goes. It cannot be managed. It's a resource that is just there, but what I do with it is going to make the difference. And I'm going to add another concept to this and bring them both together.
Perfect.
At the end of the day, time doesn't matter anyway. Because let's say you are going to create something. I'm going to use this podcast episode as an example.
Yeah.
Our listeners and our viewers will get this podcast episode. It's, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them cares how long it takes for you and I to record that 10 or 15 minutes. If it's 30 minutes, good for you. If it's 2 hours and 30 minutes, still don't care,
Yeah.
right? So the amount of time that we put in something doesn't matter. The amount of result that we create matters. And the results are created by higher engagement, right? So
Yeah.
I would organize my time according to my engagement. So basically, I don't do time management. I do engagement management.
Yeah. I
And
like that term.
yes, I like to manage my engagement with the task because that's what creates the results. We all know the difference of the experience in when you're engaged with a task or you're not.
Yeah.
There are other concepts like our strengths and unique ability, time blocking, morning time, afternoon time, peak time. All of those, they can all come together and help us in manage our engagement in the right time blocks in a day so we get the most results. So time management by itself is not the thing. It is a tool for a bigger goal at the end of the day. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, there's so much to unpack there.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I can see some other episodes coming down the line as we can explore some of these particular things and go deeper into them. A lot of those I certainly use as well, but I think there's a lot of things there that we can unpack and bring to our listeners over the next, several episodes and on all of this sort of stuff. I'm excited.
Well, let's
to,
do it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Tell me a little bit more, sort of about how you can simplify time and what the benefits of that is when you talk about the
Right.
engagement side of things and what you're
Yes.
doing to become more effective and more productive and all of that kind of stuff.
Yes. So to really plainly simply look at it, engagement has a couple of characteristics to it, and one of them is the enjoyment of the task. So the joy factor is something that I consider when I am working with my schedule, and this is what I mean. Let's really simplify it. There are only three types of tasks or projects: the ones that you or I or anybody else,
Yeah.
the ones that I love to do,
Yeah.
the ones that they are meh, and the ones that I hate doing, like doing taxes for me. Some
Yeah.
people like that, I
Yeah.
don't, right? So just like that, I love doing them. I'm okay doing them. I really don't want to do them, right? So that's one factor to consider when I'm scheduling my day, right? I got to make sure that I have those ones that I really don't want to do, but I
Yep.
need to do them, have them in my schedule, because if I don't pay attention to that, you keep postponing them to the next day and the next day, and we end up doing our taxes on the last day, last minute, before the midnight,
Exactly. The
kind of a
master
thing.
procrastinator, right? Because
Yes.
it's those things you just hate doing.
Yes, and also it is directly related to time, because when I enjoy doing something, it's in my strength, I get results, the interaction, all of that, I like it. I am able to hold my attention longer on that task, right? The stamina is higher because of that, joy feedback that I get from the task. So I consider, when I put them in my calendar, in my case, there are 90-minute periods, right?
Okay.
For the tasks that I'm okay doing, but they need to get done anyway, I go somewhere around 30 minutes, 45 minutes max, right? Rarely 45 minutes. Let's just go with 30 minutes. That's just
Yeah, I'm more
simpler, right?
32.
Yeah, simpler, 30
Yeah.
minutes. And the ones that I really don't want to do, guess what? Doesn't matter how unpleasant a task is, you can do it for 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
10 minutes is not going to kill you.
Yeah.
But so that's what I do. I just schedule them in 10-minute bursts. Maybe I do 2 or 3 in one day, or repeat that 10 minutes every day, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But over time, all of them add up.
So when
And-
when you're doing one, Kavon, that you don't like doing, and it's going to
Yeah.
take longer than 10 minutes, do you just break them down? Is that how you manage that?
That's one approach. But at the same time, our psychology kicks in, because the hardest part about any task, regardless of the level of enjoyment, is getting started. Right? So that motivation of getting started, if I think, oh, this task that I really don't like doing, and I need to do this for an hour or two, right? Imagine the level of strength of procrastination and resistance towards that. But if you think, okay, I only have to do this thing for 10 minutes. Heck, make it 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In the next 5 minutes, my opinion doesn't matter. How it feels doesn't matter. In the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna get engaged with this task, and I'm gonna do it. But more often than not, after that 5 or 10 minutes, we find I can still go for a bit longer, more.
Yeah.
So I commit to only the starting. I commit to only 10 minutes. But what actually happens is that you end up doing it for a good 20, 25, 30 minutes, and a good amount of progress is being created by removing that level of resistance.
Yeah.
And or many situations, sometimes you do the 10 minutes, and by the end of it, you really don't want to continue. Good job. You have, you committed to something, you got it done. You get to stop if you like.
I like just behind me here. I have the book by It's Tiny Habits by BJ
Yes.
Fogg, and one of his sort of ideas is that B equals MAP, and behavior equals motivation, ability, and prompt. And if you don't have any of those, if you're missing one of those three, you don't do the behavior. And it's
Yes.
interesting. How do you motivate yourself? How do you actually have the ability to do it? And do you have the prompt to do it? And one of the things that I also aspire to when I'm working on those kind of things is just to delegate it to somebody else. It's that idea of who, not how, right? From
Yes.
Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy just recently wrote a book, but actually letting somebody else take that off your plate for you, so it still gets done. Because a lot of those things, we may hate them, but they still need to get done, right, Kavon?
Yeah, and the thing that you hate, dear listener,
Yeah.
somebody else might really love.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's
There are
their
things that you
usability,
enjoy,
right?
so give them a gift
Yeah.
of doing the task for you, and pay him for that. You mentioned Dan Sullivan. I certainly learned a lot from Dan.
Yeah.
And on that concept, he was saying his default reaction, default first question when he's face to face with something that he needs to get done, his first question is, can I get the same results without doing this? Can I get away from doing this? So that question of the who, not how, is the first question he has, which is a big difference between an entrepreneurial coach and mentor like him to our natural tendencies when we start with entrepreneurship, or we don't change our habits, our natural habits, which is the first question is usually how. how I'm
Yep.
going to do it. No, no, no. It should be who, and go there. So all of that could be in the service of I just keep the tasks that I really enjoy doing, or I'm okay doing, because the tasks that you enjoy, they also very demanding on your creativity and energy and all of that. And there are things that you can just do, like, I don't know, in my case is paying the bills.
Yep.
David Allen calls it brain dead tasks. You don't really need to be at your best to
No,
be able to
exactly.
pay the bills, right? So I just do them. And the things that I do not enjoy, I find the person that I trust
Yep.
and, enjoy having conversation with them. In my case, my accountant. Everything comes, here you go. My job is to be organized in sending them to you. You deal with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, every time we meet, where do I sign?
I like that. I like that. I
Yes.
mean, what happens when you're doing that is it's freeing up your time.
Yes.
Like we said, there's only 24 hours in a day. But by doing that, you're freeing up the time so that you can work in your passion, right? And
Yeah.
that kind of work gives you more energy. It's not as draining. There's less anxiety and stress and all of the other
Yes.
things along with it because you're working in the area that you love, like you said, that first area of the three parts.
Yeah.
I think that was awesome. Well,
Yeah,
that
frees our
take-
time,
yeah,
reduces frustration, and you were talking about tiny habits, increases motivation.
for sure.
There is only
Yeah.
a certain amount that we can create motivation, but there is a lot that we can do to influence it. So that's one of the things. You just set it and forget it. When it comes to this kind of task, it always goes out. Somebody else is going to do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks so much, Kavon. So
My pleasure.
we're kind of coming up against the time crunch here. So I just want to kind of roll into a couple of questions here to cap
Yes.
things off for the day. So in your work, how do you help entrepreneurs and business leaders simplify entrepreneurship?
I help them, but taking back control and getting back and staying on track of getting things done, basically. Because one of my good friends, Alex Sharfin, he talks about entrepreneurs as momentum-based creatures. So keeping that momentum and keeping the wheels turning all the time is very important, not only for the health of the business, but also for happiness, fulfillment, mental health, productivity, all of the inner game of entrepreneurship as well. If things are moving, we're happy. Some things may go well or not well, but as long as we are moving forward, we are happy. So one of the things that I do is always help them to do that, and that's always through getting things done with implementation. So simplifying implementation, I think, is the main thing that I can do to help my clients.
Awesome. So as we finish up our conversation today, just ask you for one last thought to encourage and challenge our listeners on all of the things we've been talking about here in this episode.
I think you mentioned it before, the who, not how, question. But I like to challenge our perspective on that for a second.
Yeah.
This camera that I'm talking to you, I did not make it,
Nope.
right? These computer, my clothes, my house, none of them. So we all paid for them. Somebody else did the work for us.
Yeah.
Like some people think, I got to do something, I got to do things myself. No, you're already delegating. You're already using who. And there is this imaginary line that we think on the other side, I let other people do it. On this side, I have to do it myself. And my point is, that line is imaginary anyway, right? Just
Totally.
move it, right?
Exactly.
So the last thing, the thing that I want to summarize this is, finish this sentence. If you want something done right, you have to. And the layman answer is, do it yourself.
Right.
But let's change that. If you want something done right, hire an expert.
I like that. Yeah, cool. That's great, Kavon. Thanks so much. Thanks for spending
you.
some time with me today. And just ask you to share with the audience on how they can get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you.
Right. On social media, everywhere, I am Dr. Kavon K. You can look at my website, simplify.zone. I'm working on this program, which is all about implementation and making it happen easier, implementation advantage. So simplify.zone/implementation.
Awesome. Thanks again, Kavon, and we'll see you
Thank you.
again in an upcoming episode of Simplifying Entrepreneurship.
This was fun. Thank you very
Love these
much.
chats. Right
Yes.
on. Make it a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Bye for now.